What's amazing about your book is that you literally, you take us through a brief journey through your childhood, very heavy into the 60s, 70s, and then some into the 80s, but I find that the chapter throughout the 60s, chapters I should say, the middle section of the book, you also spent some time, you literally did everything that everyone has imagined the 60s would be about. You lived on a commune in Oregon with no electricity, no water, no basic modern conveniences. You've got to tell me.
No bathroom.
No bathroom. How do you leave a nice warm home in Long Beach? What attracted you to that? Like, seriously, what was that all about, and how did you guys make it?
Well, kind of on a serious note, we experienced the June 23rd demonstration, right, and the police overreaction. Then Martin Luther King was killed,
right.
And we saw the cities burning, and we thought it was time to get out. And we had different theories that, the civilization was going to fall apart, and there'd be riots in the street, and so we decided that we'd sell everything we had. There was about 20 families of us from Southern California, from Laguna Beach, Costa Mesa, University of California, Irvine, and we all sold everything we had and bought some land up in Oregon, and decided that we were going to do what the pioneers did. We'd keep our family units together, and we'd do our work communally. We'd grow our vegetable garden communally. We'd build our houses communally, kind of like in the pioneer days. But the pioneers weren't stoned all the time, and the pioneers wore clothes.
So you tried to do
pioneers had Indians to worry about. But
and you guys were high and kind of
the
whole time?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And we didn't have any unifying philosophy. We had vegetarians and meat eaters, and we had alcoholics like myself, and we had people who were on spiritual paths, and people who were anarchists. And so we had no unifying philosophy, but it's amazing we held it together as long as we did.
Now, did you have to actually, I'm trying to imagine this, you go to this land in Oregon, there's nothing on it, correct?
Right.
Did you have to build your own what did you do?
Yeah, we bought 2.5-acre parcels right next to each other from an old beatnik who had moved up there maybe 10 years before us, and so he liked hippies, and he was very idealistic, and he thought we were the forerunners of the Aquarian age, and so he sold us the land very cheap, and each family unit or individual hippie bought 2.5 acres right next to each other, and we started to clear enough land. It was forest land right along the river, and we cleared enough land to build cabins, our individual cabins, and we cleared a spot for a garden, and we started work. Started to build houses. What we didn't realize when we moved up there was we moved into an area that was a nest of white supremacists and survivalists.
Oh my gosh.
And they'd come up several years before us, and there were survivalist compounds up there, and they thought we were communists, and we built a house and they'd come out and burn it down, or they'd come out and shoot at us. And so it was, and the townspeople didn't like us either.
Yeah, so where do you go for help? Law enforcement didn't help?
Law enforcement didn't help. The local law enforcement actually came out and told us that they sided with the townspeople and the survivalists, that we weren't welcome there. When we tried to get driver's licenses at the county seat in Grants Pass, we we had an impossible time getting driver's licenses. And whenever we built a house, the county would come out and condemn it. And so they just didn't want us there. They thought we were going to bring drugs into the schools. Many of the hippies there had children, school-age children, sent their kids into town to school. And looking back on it, a lot of their fears were justified.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like it.
Yeah, there was a lot of drugs, and you know, and we did have a sort of a communistic kind of a philosophy, and no morals. So,
None.
well, we'd make them up as we went along. That's kind of how we did it. We just made everything up as we went along, because we didn't have any role models.
Right.
We were out there hanging out in space. There was nobody had ever done this before, to our knowledge, in this yuga.
Wow. How long did you live there?
We were up there for almost a year.
You survived the winter and the whole?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Toward the very end of the winter, we got out. We moved up there in April of '68.
Okay. And all of you
and
guys?
before April of '69, we were gone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The whole thing. Everyone just walked away.
There were some of us drifted up into a deeper commune in the Medford area, and as far as I know, they're still up there.
Wow.
They've probably turned into rabbits by now. They went so far back into the forest and got so into nature that there's hardly anything left.
Tell us about when you finally decided to leave Oregon and you came back to Long Beach. What was that like? I mean, you've been to San Francisco, you lived on a commune in Oregon, now you're back in the city. Did you go back to the machine shop? I mean, that must have sucked if you did.
Well, for one thing, I got so sick of it living in Oregon. I hate to say this because it's so politically incorrect, but I got sick of nature. And I got sick of trees. And I would lay in my little pup tent at night that I slept in with the snakes and the lizards, and I used to dream about those refineries around Wilmington off the 405 and the Harbor Freeway.
Right.
And the smokestacks belching fire and smoke into the air, and the sound of police sirens. I wanted that, you know. I wanted that. I wanted to be back in that. And so I could hardly wait. I wanted concrete. I was scared of nature.
I don't know why it's so funny, but I'm just envisioning, I mean, here you are, hippie, you're going after free love, and then all of a sudden it's like, this sucks, I want to go back to the city.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
Really
yeah, I couldn't get back there fast enough. So it was a relief. Yeah, it was a relief. Some people mourned the forest. They didn't want to go back. And those people are still up there, as far as I know. They're still up there. But I'm a Long Beach boy. I was happy in the city.
Okay.